Offense, 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 and a very underrating outing from Luis Castillo leads the Mariners to a huge blowout victory. What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners postgame recap. Mariners defeat the Marlins last night 14-0, a football score to honor the NFL draft. They improved to 15-12 on the season. They are in first place in the American League West, and they will go for a series win against the Marlins later this afternoon. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Do me a favor, smash that like button. Helps out the video tremendously, gets out to more people. Thank you to everybody. I've passed 4,500 subs, now officially on the road to 5,000, less than 500 to go. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're new or lurking. Comment your thoughts on the team and the game down below. Apologize for not having the video up yesterday. I've been dealing with a bit of a stomach issue. So, you probably don't need any more info on that. But feeling a little bit better today, still not 100%, but well enough to at least make a quick video for you guys. Really nice bounce back win for the Mariners. Friday was not only just a frustrating loss because it felt winnable. You had the error on Demo, which led to 6 unearned runs. Logan Gilbert looked dialed in for 3 innings. So you felt really good that the Mariners are going to probably win that game. Then Logan gets hurt, and it just, not only is it Logan exiting the game, which affected that game, it's forearm tightness, which, automatically your mind goes to, the worst of the worst. So not only you're frustrated by the loss, but then the long-term impact of the season. That was kind of the focus of my video. I wasn't even that worried about losing to Miami on Friday. It was just the fact that what's going to happen with Logan Gilbert. I guess you would say encouraging news, not an immediate, hey, Tommy John is necessary surgery. He's going to be shut down for 2 weeks, and then they'll kind of reevaluate in a couple weeks. So, and a grade 1 forearm strain is what they said, I believe. I don't have it up right now, but something in that ballpark. I'm a little nervous still because I think Robbie Ray was actually, when he was shut down in 23, or was it 22? No, it was 23. I think it was the same thing, right? Like, 2 weeks shut down. It's just the strain. We think we've avoided the worst. And then a few weeks go by and it's like, no, he's going to have Tommy John. So not out of the woods yet, but I don't want to go, even though I just kind of speculate, I don't want to go into that too much because just because it happened to Robbie Ray doesn't mean that's how it's going to happen to Logan Gilbert. But still not out of the woods. I mean, encouraging news that it wasn't an immediate done. And I will say a little difference with Ray and Gilbert is I remember when Ray got hurt, you could tell in that game, like he was off. It was just something happened. Gilbert, outside of a small velocity dip, it didn't look like he was, struggling too much. So hopefully best of the best. But the best cure for anything is a W in sports. And the Mariners got a big one last night. The offense just, again, continues. They've come home after a road trip and, a road trip that saw them jump up to 3rd in baseball in WRC plus. And, I think all of us a little bit like, well, they come back to T-Mobile, are they going to be doing the same thing, or is it going to come down a little bit now that they're at home and out of some hitters' parks? Now, listen, Miami's certainly not the world's greatest pitching staff by any means. Today will be a good test against Meyer, but still impressive, right? Even Friday, I thought they were okay. They had 4 runs. They missed a couple home runs from Raley and Tellez that just went off the top of the wall. That could have easily been a 5 or 6 run game for the Seattle Mariners. Then they score 14 last night. So, 18 runs, 9 runs per game since coming back home, 2-game sample size. But it doesn't look like T-Mobile is slowing down this offense. It has been completely dialed in. You are getting the Jorge Polanco. I mean, you're getting a even better version, but you're getting the Jorge Polanco you thought you were getting when you traded for him last year. Cal Raleigh's on a tear, even though cooled off a little bit on the home runs, is still swinging the bat well. I mean, Randy has been what you advertised, what you wanted him to be. Julio's off to a better April for him. Still a little bit of a slow start, but certainly, the power's at least been there a little bit more in this April than it has in the past. JP, even though the slugging isn't necessarily there, he's finding the base hits, and he's working his walk. I mean, cannot say enough good stuff still about Ben Williamson. Ben Williamson's just a ball player. I know it's like a cliche thing to say, but he's just a guy that just does it, gets it done, right? Like, I'll be honest, now that he's not here anymore, it's not a big deal. And I always wanted to believe in him, but like Jared Kelenic, there was that little stretch, I think in 22 or 23, in Chicago, he hit those two mammoth home runs. Like, man, maybe Kelenic has arrived, but he was just so frustrating. Even when he first came up, he had that 0 for 30 slump or something. And it just always kind of seemed like he was in his own head and stuff like that. And, I don't root against anybody. I think he's struggling a little bit in Atlanta this year, but hopefully he turns it around. And just kind of like, to me, a polar opposite of Ben Williamson. I don't expect Williamson to keep this up. He's got 785 OPS, 310 batting average, probably a little high, but he's just a gamer, right? He's just come up, puts the ball in play. He doesn't try to do something he's not. He doesn't put too much pressure on himself. If his hit is going to be a base hit down the line, then so be it. I don't think Ben Williamson's going up there worrying about what his slugging percentage is, anything like that. Like, he's just a ball player and he's played fantastic defense. And I do not think it's a coincidence. Now, him hitting more than we thought probably is a big reason why, but I don't think it's a coincidence that he's come up and this team has played a lot better baseball. Again, his performance is contributing to that, but I also just think what he's done for this roster, I really think, and again, I've said it 50 times, he's allowed everybody to kind of settle in to a little bit more defined role on this roster. So, I just could not stop singing the praises of Ben Williamson. And listen, like I said, I don't know if that 310 batting average is going to hold up. There's probably some BABIP luck going on for Williamson, but I'm pretty convinced he's a big leaguer. Like, he just has that feel of a guy that, I don't want to say jack of all trades, master of none, because his defense is really good and it is a master trait, but he just hits, right? I think so many people focus on certain things and go, oh, the power. Jesus Montero had an 80 grade power tool, and he wasn't good, because if that's all you can do, big league guys will get you out. But Ben Williamson puts the ball in play. He does hit the ball hard. It was just a matter of some elevation. He's been elevating it in the big leagues. He's got the one home run, and truthfully, he's had a couple of fly balls that are, legitimately deep. I think he even had one last night. I could be wrong on that. That was not close, but there's a ballpark or two it might have gone out at or something. So I even think the power is somewhat there. He's got a good approach at the plate. I am really, really, Ben Williamson's become one of my favorites real quick, and man, you need some guys like that on the roster. And I've said this before, and I think a couple people said in the comments, it's kind of nice not to have, everybody be a 3 true outcome player in the lineup. I think you need to balance it out with guys like Ben Williamson. Mitch Garver gets on the board with his first home run. And you know what? I do not give a hoot if it's off a position player. That's not the Mariners' fault. The Mariners kicked the Marlins' butt so bad that they had to bring in a position player. That's how you get your numbers, right? Who cares if they scored 3 runs on them? The Marlins got their butts whooped and had to bring them in. If it was like the Marlins had clinched a playoff spot and started the position player on the mound or something, and then you got your numbers, and the Mariners' offense had been terrible up to this point, would it matter much to me? Not really. But the offense has been good. And the reason the Marlins had to go to a position player is because the Mariners offense kicked their butt and their pitching dominated them. So yeah, Garver absolutely gets credit for that home run. I was hoping Julio would do some damage off of him. I think Julio was going up there trying to hit the home run. Sometimes it's tough when position players pitch because, one, you're not used to that slow of a speed as a big leaguer. And you're just going up there going, man, I want to hit a home run. You're just, especially because you're up 11-0. So it's kind of like, who cares if I make it out? But, Garver got a hold of one off of him. And I think Mastroboni did as well, that they knocked around Gillespie big time in the first couple innings. They put up a 6 spot early, put the pressure on. Another shout out for this game has to be Luis Castillo. A great outing, 6 shutout innings. Fantastic. Great to see a little bit of length. It's hard to judge Friday because Logan had to leave in 3 innings, but he looked like he was probably going to go 6 or 7. So you're starting to get more length out of the starting pitchers. We saw Hancock and Wu do it in Boston. Castillo probably could have gone 7, but I think at 10, 11-0, there's no point in sending him out there for the 7th. So on top of a great outing yesterday from Castillo, I love that outing from him as a veteran leader of the staff. You lose Logan Gilbert the night before. And I'm sorry, I do think that affected the team. I do think that Dylan Moore error probably doesn't happen with Logan Gilbert on the mound. Again, I will reiterate, they're professionals. They have to make the plays. But, it does affect you. That's one of your best players that you're wondering like, oh my gosh, did we just lose potentially our best pitcher for the year? And, it hurts the psyche of the team. Luis Castillo, being the veteran, goes out there and gives you 6 shutout innings, takes that mantle of the ace, kind of on himself. I'll get you guys going. I will pitch this gem today, and we'll get the W. I'm not saying that's like what he said or anything, but I think it's that kind of mindset. And it's funny, every time I debate who's the best pitcher in the staff, I'm like, that's Logan, that's Woo, that's actually George Kirby when he's dialed in. And then there's days like yesterday, I'm like, man, I love that Bulldog veteran presence that Luis Castillo gives you on the mound. There's problems like I'd still start Castillo game 1 in the playoff series. It shows the great depth this rotation does have, and I'm not trying to start a debate about that. I really don't care. I like all the pitchers on the staff, so whoever you want to go with is fine. But a tremendous outing from Luis Castillo on a day they needed it. On a day they really, really needed it. Logan Evans will make his major league debut today. No problem with that. You have an open rotation spot. Bryce Miller gets pushed back a couple days. He's been dealing with some soreness and hasn't looked great. I have no problem with pushing Bryce Miller back to Tuesday. And then you allow Logan Evans to make a start against a little bit of a weaker lineup, right, in Miami. You could have started against the Angels. The Angels have Mike Trout. They've got some guys that are hitting pretty well. And then your other option is on the road in, I think, Texas is the first stop. And I don't think that's where you want Logan Evans necessarily making his debut, although he will have to pitch in that series, though, now, right? Because the 2-game with the Angels. So Evans, Miller, Woo, or Hancock, Woo, Castillo. So he still will probably pitch in that series. So, but, you don't necessarily want his debut to be there, So I'm fine with it. I'm fine with pushing Miller back a little bit, giving him a couple extra days. I think that's smart with how he's looked. So hopefully Logan Evans can show up and be a contributor. When they lost Robbie Ray in 23, Bryce Miller and Brian Woo stepped up and were big parts of that pitching rotation. They also lost Marco Gonzalez. Love me some Marco, but not the same scale as Robbie or Logan Gilbert being lost. Those guys stepped up. So maybe this year, maybe it is Emerson Hancock. He's looked legitimately good his last 2 starts. Maybe it is Logan Evans that steps up and you end up being okay. And then George Kirby gets back in there. So there certainly is some hope. And I didn't want to imply that in yesterday's video. I was super down about it because Logan's a great player. You could make a case Logan's best player on this team. It's not a crazy concept to say that. So it's devastating when you see something like that. But there are some guys here that hopefully, you do have to have that next man up mentality. So hopefully they can do that. And hopefully Logan's going to be a tough test today for Logan Evans. But hopefully he can get it done and have a good major league debut. And there should be some shuffling with the bullpen they can do as well. Poor Casey Lawrence was DFA'd again. You had Sauce and Troy Taylor back up for, the Friday game. For Saturday's game, you had Sauce and Troy Taylor back up. So I'm sure one of them will go down. They may even switch someone else out to give a little bit more depth behind Evans. And you've got tomorrow off, and the bullpen's pretty rested after yesterday as well. So in decent shape to hopefully get another series win. Yeah, the team just continues to impress. It really does. Yes, you get the offensive explosion, great pitching, and, outside of really yesterday, which again didn't have game 1 of this series, I should start saying, it really didn't have anything to do with the loss. It was just the potential issues that arose from the loss with the injuries. So, I mean, they continue to stay dialed in. Like I said, they're now in first place and shouldn't really be looking at the standings too much in April. But, again, I'll go to there's not a lot of separation. It's not like I think the Rangers and Astros are 100-win teams and the Mariners are just off to a hot start. I think the Astros or Rangers could absolutely win this division. I'm not saying that. They easily could. When someone wants to come out here and say the Astros win the West, I'm not going to fight you on that. But I'm also not going to fight anybody that says I think the Mariners can win the AL West. I 100% think they can. And when you see how dialed in they've been the last couple of weeks, you see the potential of this team. And, it doesn't excuse a poor offseason still, but, there is some guys and some dudes on this team that can help carry it. So let's get in the box score real quick and I'll get out of here. Like I said, Luis Castillo, 6 innings. I didn't realize only 1 hit, no runs, no earned, obviously. 2 walks, 5 Ks. Can't say enough. Tremendous outing for Castillo. And just a big, I think, emotional boost for the team. So not only a great start that helped them win a ball game, but I think, like I said, that emotional level of that as well. And that's what a good veteran leader like Castillo does for you. Troy Taylor gets a shutout inning. Good to see. Hope Troy Taylor sticks and doesn't get sent down. I thought he was great last year in that second half of the season. This is a bullpen that has some question marks. We've talked about it 100 times and you rehash it. maybe Taylor can help stabilize that a little bit. So good to see him get his first full inning under his belt this year. Legumina pitches the 8th, Saucedo the 9th. Not going to dive too much into their outings. It was 12-13 nothing, throw strikes and get us home, even for Taylor as well. Just good to see him get back out there and have a good inning. To the offense, another big game for the offense. They amass 15 hits, 14 runs, and they walk 7 times. They've got to be among the top in WRC+. Let's check it out. Well, Fangraphs always freezes my computer. I'll do it on my phone real quick. Let me see where they rank in WRC+ right now on the season. They've got to be, if they're not like 1 or 2, I mean, they were 3 coming into last night, so they've got to be somewhat close. And again, I will reiterate, WRC+ is not the end-all, be-all, but they've got to be up there in the top 5 or 6 now in runs scored as well with the 14-run outburst. Let's take a look at it from WRC+. It is loading. And of course, it's going to take 40 minutes to load. Maybe if I turned on my Wi-Fi, that would help. Let's just, there we go. Okay. Number 1 is the Yankees, Cubs, and the Mariners. And the Mariners are like right behind the Cubs. So it's not crazy. The Mariners could be number 2 in baseball. And listen, will that sustain? I don't know if they're the 3rd best offense in baseball, but they've done it so far, and these games count. So it absolutely matters that they're doing it right now. For years when the team would kind of come out slow, I'd say, hey, it's early. And people go, hey, no, these games count. You're right. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. But then we can't turn and go, oh, it's just April. Either these games count or they don't. And they do. Like, you got to get them now. It doesn't mean they're destined to keep this up, but they've got this. These are all in the books, right? You can't take away what they've done so far. So good to see. Let's get into the box score. Julio 1 for 6. Kind of an oddly disappointing home run game for Julio. He gets the home run in the first pitch off the foul pole. Good to see him turn on an inside fastball. It's something I haven't seen him do a whole heck of a lot. So that was good to see. And again, the power's been there more in April. He's on pace for like 25 home runs or something this season. Would still like to see some more line drives, finding gaps and stuff, even if it's singles. I'm fine with home runs once he keeps hitting them, but just a little bit more balance from Julio. Like I said, kind of a weird 1 for 6 with a home run, but had some rough at-bats later in the game. Was hoping the position player would give him a couple free hits to boost the numbers up a little bit. But still overall, like a better April for Julio. I'm not worried. He is going to get on a hot streak here at some point. Jorge Polanco continues to be huge. I didn't even mention. I think I did mention him early on in the video. 2 for 4, 2 home runs, 3 runs scored, and a walk on base 3 more times. He's up to 7 home runs on the season, and the guy's playing, 60% of the games right now. It sounds like he's closer to swinging the bat right-handed. He's been working on the cages, so hopefully he's back out there soon. Cal Raleigh, 1 for 1, 2 runs scored, and 2 walks. Just a quiet, solid game from the dumper. Mitch Garver, 1 for 2 with the 2-run home run. Again, yes, it counts. That's the merit. You score a bunch of runs, you force teams to put in backups. That's not your problem. That's the other team's problem. That's like blaming a football team for being up 40-0, putting in their backup running back and him running for 100 yards. They kick their butt. They deserve it. So Garver's up to, I think, a 114 WRC plus now on the season. He's starting to heat up. A couple extra base hits in the last 2 times he's played. So if he can get that slugging going with what he's done with the OBP, we may be getting that Mitch Garver bounce back this season. Randy was 1 for 4 with a single and a walk. Should have been a double. That was one of those tough ones. He was clearly safe. I guess the Mariners waited too long to challenge it. It was 11-0. Who cares? I will say, though, part of me was going, Dan, just challenge it. Because Randy was telling him, like, hey, challenge it. I was safe. Dude, it's 11-0. Just challenge it. Who cares? But in the same vein, like, it's 11-0. And I guess it could look a little petty if you're challenging it. But I would have challenged it if I were the manager, because it's like, those are my guys, and I want them to get the hits. If it was something where a Marlins hitter was called safe, you know what? It's Major League Baseball. He was safe. It was a double. Who cares if it's 11-0? Challenge it. Believe in your guy. I could understand, I guess I was going to say, like, if it was 4-3, Dan looking at it a little closer, like, hold on, let's look at this. Like, I don't want to waste a challenge. But at 11-0, Randy said he's safe. Just do it. Just do it, Dan. Come on. Like, not a big deal, but hey, I'm sure most players want that slugging to go up, so he would have taken the double. Great game for Luke Raley, 3 for 3 with a walk. Raley having a nice little homestand. His numbers have shot up pretty substantially. Rowdy Tellez, 0 for 1, but with a walk and a hit by pitch RBI. X-rays were negative. Again, I don't think losing Rowdy Tellez would be the end of the world, but he's your best first baseman right now. He's the best player over there. So you just don't want more injuries to pile up. So Thankfully, he's okay. Might get him the day off today, I think would be smart. Let that hand heal up. You got the day off tomorrow. That gives him back-to-back days off. But, not much from Rowdy, but an RBI and a walk and on base twice. Donovan Solano was 1 for 2. I was hoping, again, he would get another hit off the position player to get those numbers up. I will say the OPS is up to 219. The good news for Solano is he could go 0 for 4 with a walk, and those numbers are going to go up. And I know that sounds silly, but kind of maybe the mentality you need to have when you're in a slump like that is just, hey, if I can reach base once, no matter how, it's going to boost up my numbers. And I'm not trying to, and again, I think sometimes it gets misunderstood. I'm not trying to make excuses. Solano's been awful. If they release Solano today, I wouldn't fight it. I go, yeah, he's been terrible. I can't defend that. So I don't want to come across like I'm making excuses for guys. What I am trying to say is hey, Solano got a hit. Maybe that gets him going, right? Like any little thing when you're in a slump like that can help. That's why I felt bad for him, that little dribbler in Boston that Bregman made a great play on. Sometimes it just takes something in that box score to see that hit go up there and go, okay, I can still do this. Listen, the best thing for the Seattle Mariners right now is Donovan Solano being good. That would solve a bit of an issue for them. So, yes, there's moves you can make. Maybe it is Tyler Locklear, or maybe it's another first baseman, another organization. But that stuff takes time, right? There's no guarantees Tyler Locklear is going to come up here and be amazing. You can't force teams to make trades in April. I'm not saying there aren't deals you can make. There are deals that can be made early in the season, but it's not as easy, at this point in the year because most teams want to wait it out a little bit. And then the teams that will trade, the Rockies and the White Sox, I don't know if they have anything that you really want at this point. So the best thing right now is Donovan Solano gets better. So any little thing he can do, I'll take it. Hey, he had 2 at-bats yesterday, and he reached base in half of them. 500 OBP yesterday for Solano. Enough talking about Donovan Solano. Ben Williamson, 2 for 5, 4 RBIs. Talked enough about how impressive he's been. Miles Mastrobuoni, 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a double. His first RBIs of the year. He's continued to be a nice little, boost in that 26th man on the roster role. He's done a nice job. How about that play JP makes on the diving stop, flips it to Mastrobuoni, and then over to Rowdy Tellez? That was fantastic to see. Everything fell, all the chips fell right for the Mariners last night. And JP 1 for 4 with a base hit and a walk. Seems like every game I'm doing, I'm like, JP 1 for 4 with a walk. 1 for the walk. And it doesn't sound spectacular, but that's an OBP of 500 and a hit and getting on base. So, it's a good night when you can do stuff like that. So just a great win, fun. And hopefully they can get the series win today. The pitching, what was the pitching matchup again? It's Meyer. Is that who it is for the Marlins? Where is it? He has been really good this year. Yeah. Is it Meyer or Meyer? Alex? Is that what his first? Max Meyer. He's 2-2. 2.10 ERA. Let's see. He has pitched 30 innings and has 41 strikeouts, 7 walks. He is really good. This is going to be a tough game for the Mariners today. Don't be shocked if you don't see a lot of runs in this one. This is one of those ones like Crochet. Hopefully you can get that pitch count up. Throws a lot. You can get him out after 5-6 innings and find a way to get a run or two. This is not going to be the game to rip them if they struggle offensively. Hopefully Logan Evans can hold a, little bit weaker Marlins lineup in check. And then the bats can get going maybe against the bullpen, or maybe they do something against Meyer. I didn't think they'd hit Crochet, and they did. So, I'm not going to count this offense out right now. It's been dialed in. But great win. First place Seattle Mariners. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Channel members. I will be live about probably first pitch 1:10. I don't know how long I'll be able to do the video, just a little under the weather, but contest is up. Check that out. And I'll try to be live for at least the first 3, 4, 5 innings for you guys. Have a great day, everybody. You'll see me again later tonight. And as always, go Mariners. Peace.